What is going on, guys? Welcome to today's video. So I have 3 pro tips I'm going to share with you guys on how to take your B-roll to the next level. Cue intro. Yo, for real though, intro is hype. I feel like I'm a real YouTuber now. I have a cool intro. Alright, anyways. So B-roll, if used correctly, can help make a video look a lot more interesting. You can cover up someone's talking head if it's like a 10-minute interview. You don't want to just have one single shot just staring at someone's face while they talk for 10 minutes. You know, it can introduce a new location. You can show off the detail of a new product or whatever it is. It can help take you from point A to point B. So yeah, B-roll can be pretty damn important. So here's 3 quick tips that I use when I'm filming B-roll that I figure I'd share with you guys. Let's jump right into it. Tip number 1, shoot in different frame rates. When I'm shooting B-roll, a lot of times I'll shoot 24 frames per second, 60, and 120. So as you guys might know by now, I make all my videos at 24 frames per second. I think it's the most natural looking and that's just what I go with. So if I'm shooting B-roll at 24 frames per second, that's real time. You're gonna have a little bit of natural camera shake. It's gonna feel very natural, handheld. If that's kind of look you're going for, perfect. So when it comes to B-roll, a lot of times people will want that slow-mo, smooth look. So that's when you wanna shoot at either 60 frames per second or if your camera can, 120 frames per second. So when you shoot at a higher frame rate, like 60 or 120, whenever you put it into your editing program, I personally use Premiere Pro, but if you use Final Cut or whatever else, that's totally fine. You put that clip into your editing program, you can slow that clip down and it's gonna create a nice, smooth, slow-mo effect. Now, if you're shooting 60 frames per second and you're editing a 24 frames per second timeline, you slow that 60 frames per second clip down to 40% and it's going to be nice, smooth, slow motion. Now, if your camera can shoot 120 frames per second, you can slow your clip down to 20% speed and it's going to be even smoother, slower slow motion. So that's kind of where you get the buttery smooth that you hear people talk about. So when you shoot these higher frame rates, you're gonna be able to use clips in slow motion, so you can either speed ramp, to show off certain parts of a clip that's more important, or you can just get some nice looking slow motion that's gonna look great, and it's gonna get rid of some of that natural handshake. It's gonna look a little more cinematic. So 120 is definitely the trend right now when it comes to shooting B-roll, which understandably so. It looks awesome. It's gonna give you a nice cinematic look. It's very, very slow, so it can make, honestly, pretty much anything look cool. But remember, when you're shooting these high frame rates, the higher your frame rate is, the more and more light that you're gonna need to shoot that. Remember, you gotta always have your shutter speed at least twice of what the FPS is you're shooting. We can get into that in another video. So sometimes maybe shooting that really high frame rate isn't always an option. Maybe you're shooting outside or inside in an office. So I would play around with these different frame rates, see what works best for different situations, but sometimes you just switch it up and see what looks best. And even sometimes mixing in all of them can create a cool look. So try it out. All right, moving on. Tip number 2, stabilize your footage in post. So maybe you're shooting a B-roll sequence and you don't want a lot of camera shake. You want it to be a nice, cinematic, clean looking clip. So you went out and shot with your friends all day. You get home, you're pumped to edit, you fire up your computer, you import all your footage, you sit down and look at your clips, and there's some camera shake. There's a couple of clips that you really wanted to be nice and smooth and cinematic, but you didn't have a steady cam, or maybe they just came back a little bit shakier than you thought. Well, guys, that's why I'm here. So you're gonna figure out the clip you want and get your in and out points ready to go. You want this clip right here. So you're going to go ahead and right click, you're going to nest this clip, and then you're just going to go into the effects, add the warp stabilizer to your clip, let it work its magic, and boom, there you go. You would be shocked at how much a warp stabilizer effect can fix your clips. Now, if it's some crazy 2-minute clip of you walking around, panning the camera all over the place, these big camera moves, it's not gonna be able to fix that. If it's short camera motions that aren't too crazy, warp stabilizer, you can count on it most of the times actually working pretty damn well. So honestly, most all of my B-roll is gonna be warp stabilized. So when I'm shooting that, I keep that in mind, that I know that it's an option. If you're shooting run and gun style, you're not gonna be carrying around a Steadicam with you. If I wanna get a cool, quick shot, I'm not going to mount my camera on some crazy thing, pack that bag with me with this crazy mount in it. Sometimes I like just running gunning, so I'm just gonna make do with what I can. So if I'm out there shooting, let's say at 60 frames per second, I'm gonna try to stay as steady as I can, a nice slow shot. Well, then I enter that in Premiere Pro. Once I slow that down, 40%, you nest it again, and then you add warp stabilizer, it's gonna be even slower. You guys like what I did there? So you kind of combine tip 1 with tip 2, and you're sitting real pretty. Pro tip right there, number 2. Let's go ahead and move on. Tip number 3. Reverse focus reveal. Tip number 3 is definitely my favorite. I use this all the time. I don't think everyone knows about it. Shout out to Daniel Schiffer. He's the one who put me on it, and I use this seriously in almost every single video I do now. So this one, actually, when you break it down, is pretty easy, but you might not think to shoot it this way. So I know you guys have seen those clips of someone maybe revealing a certain product or something like that, where it starts out of focus, out of focus, out of focus, the closer it gets, and then boom, it's in focus perfectly. It ends on that logo or whatever it may be. I like how I'm like pretending to hold a camera here. So here's the thing, when you go to shoot that, you know, you have this object here that you're ready to reveal the logo of. So you start your clip, you go to shoot it, you're out of focus, oh, you're in focus, oh, now you're out of focus, and you miss your mark. So whatever you're trying to shoot, you get it out of focus, not great. So how do you do that? This is actually real simple. So you're on your clip, perfectly aligned how you want the framing to be. You switch your camera to manual focus. You don't want the lens to be in autofocus, and then you pull away your shot. And what that's gonna do is when you pull back, you're gonna get nice out of focus. So once you drop that clip into Premiere Pro, all you're gonna do is reverse that clip. So then your clip is basically going to go in and then lands perfectly on the focus exactly where you wanted it to be. If you guys combine any of these tips together, go ahead and combine it with a higher frame rate, you stabilize it in post. Now you might have to nest that clip again, so you can add 2 effects. So you reverse it, then warp stabilize it, and you're shooting at that higher frame rate. You are sitting so damn pretty. Your clip is looking awesome. You are going to be surprised how cinematic of a shot you can get with just using the tools that you already have. And yeah, guys, like I said, this tip number 3 especially, I use this all the time. I mean, honestly, I do all 3 of these every single one of my videos. So the reveal is really nice, especially if you're doing something for different brands or different people. A lot of times you want to show off a certain logo, maybe it's on a t-shirt or a drink, whatever it is. You want to end on that shot, so it's kind of nice to shoot from that, pull backwards, and you know you're gonna have that ending that you looked for. And then once you do this a few times, you know what you can actually do once you edit. So guys, with those 3 tips, you're gonna have your B-roll looking better than ever. I highly suggest trying these things, even combining all 3 of them. So guys, hopefully you were able to take something away from this video. If you guys like this video, please let me know in the comments below. I got a lot of fun tutorials planned, as well as just some fun vlogs. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, hit that little bell to get notified next time I post a video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, guys. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace, guys. What was that? I don't know. Oh my God, my mic just fell off. Wait, why? Why would that fall off?